Well, welcome to episode 3 of My Life in Football, and we're really pleased to say that joining us today is Jamie Heapy from Didcot Town, and really happy for you to join us today, Jamie. And how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Better after we picked up a point yesterday, but yeah, would have been even more happy if we got 3. But I'll take your point. But yeah, no, I'm all good, mate. Thanks for a Sunday.
No worries. And of course, also joining us as well, of course, my co-host, of course, Steve as well. Stephen, how are you, sir?
Yes, fine, thank you. Yeah, good.
Really good. So, Jamie, I mean, we know that at the present minute in time, of course, you're manager at Didcot Town as it stands, and we'll come back to that later. But as we normally do with My Life in Football, I mean, how did you first, how did young Jamie sort of first get involved in football in the first place?
Just through probably like a lot of people, really. Through the grandparents and my dad. Dad's a big Reading fan. Took me along as a small boy, about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old maybe. Watched my first game, and was hooked. Yeah, went to Reading most home games, and then played locally for Chelsea Bluebirds, which are like a village side, if you like, just outside Didcot, and then progressed on to Didcot Boys. Yeah.
So I mean, we've going to Reading. Can you remember what was the sort of first game you went to?
I think it was Arsenal. In the FA Cup in like over Christmas time. I remember that. I think we got beat 3-1. Charlie Nicholas scored, and yeah, I vaguely remember that game as being like one of the first ones that I went to at the old Elm Park that it was back then. It's now obviously, well, it's not even the Medeski Stadium anymore, but yeah, a proper ground, a proper old school ground, my type of ground, to be honest. And they pack you all in, and it's all terraced, and just great atmosphere, great days, really. I was my dad used to take a little stool, and I used to stand on that at the front of the wall there, looking over the halfway line. But loved it. Yeah, loved it. Absolutely was hooked. Was nudging Dad every week. Dad, can we go? Dad, can we go? And it was, bless him. Yeah, we're still big Reading fans now, obviously, but not doing so well at the moment. We had a good result yesterday, so yeah.
My daughter went to Reading University. She now teaches at a school in Woodley.
Oh, okay.
And, she, funny enough, when she lived, when she was at university at Reading, she lived in a house which actually was near Elm Park, the old Elm Park ground.
Yeah.
I saw the signs and whatever, and it's I went there. It must have been in the 70s, I think, and it like you say, it was a typical old English stadium, wasn't it? It was
it was tucked away around the old terraced housing, and there's a pub on the corner. Like I think most that, and it was great. It was a rickety old ground and a corrugated roofing and all this type of thing, but it was just the atmosphere. I loved it, and I just wanted more and more, really. And Dad, for all his probably didn't want to go on a Tuesday night in the cold and wet, but we made the journey, and it was good times. Good times.
I'm in regards, as you said, like that. I used to go with my dad. We used to go to Leighton Orient. Used to stand there right on the wall and see John Chidozie running past you, and best feeling in the world when you used to see all that sort of stuff going on. All of that. I mean, the only downside we had was that I never saw him win for about 10, 12 games. I even remember playing Norwich in one game, and we were winning, and walked out the stadium, and a big roar went up, and they'd equalised. So I still hadn't seen them win a game, so it was quite funny. But when you started playing football yourself, I mean, was that just from the love of seeing and just wanting, as a young lad, just wanting to start playing?
Yeah, definitely. Watched Reading for a few years, and then must have been playing it in primary school and things. And then, me and my mates I wanted to go and join the mates, play football, and they're at a club, and that was how it all started, really. And I played. The Chelsea thing came about because my nan and granddad lived in Chelsea, a little village. So I went along there first and played a year higher because I didn't have like a a young group, if you like, a younger age group for my year. So I played a little bit higher. Played there for 2 years. Played centre forward. Loved it. Yeah, and then some of my mates were obviously Didcot lads, so ended up going with them and playing for Didcot boys.
So I mean, was Didcot boys sort of a higher level than what you was playing for before?
Probably similar, to be fair. Probably similar. We played friendly Saturday mornings and things like that, and then they were just it was a town club, so they had vast different age groups, all the way through, I think from under 7 to like 16 or 15, 16. Whereas Chelsea only had a couple of teams. They had like an under 9 and then a jump to under 12. But no, and then we obviously I went and played for Didcot boys, played up front. Pete Cox, who's a manager, who managed with my dad all the way through from under 7s to under 16s, then took over. He managed Didcot Town reserves, and then he managed Didcot Town first team. So I was with him all them years. So, and he's now still on the committee currently now with me at Didcot Town. So, yeah, I've had a long association with Pete. So, we had some great times. Just love playing football, like a kid. You just always got the ball out at school, at home, in the playground. Couldn't wait to get a goal out. Ruined the garden in the back garden for mum and dad's house. Knocking on the window on a Sunday afternoon. Move the goal. And you're like, what? It's raining and it's just great. Loved it.
Did you have any opportunity to go higher?
Yeah, I was at Oxford United, Centre of Excellence, till I was there from about 10, 11, going up every was it Wednesday night? I think it was Wednesday nights, and then we played on Sundays. But then I got released at 16 from Oxford. But yeah, it's just a learning experience. I was gutted. I think I must have been gutted.
It's horrible.
I remember running home from school, waiting for the letter to arrive, and you go through so many trials, and there's so many kids there and stuff like that. But no, I have no regrets at all. I still speak to Les Taylor, who's at Oxford now, Malcolm Elias. They're all still at Oxford United. Peter Rose Brown. Good people, I've been there and are still doing a good job with the kids and the development side of things. So we still bump into each other every now and again and have a chat and reminisce.
Yeah.
But
it's hard though, isn't it? I've been involved as a coach stroke manager for 30 odd years now, and it's
right.
I got released by Swansea. I was an apprentice in those days back in the 70s, but I know how hard it hit me. And that's helped me now when I have lads who come to me who have been released. Because I've been through it. I know what it's like. Do you find the same?
I agree. Yeah, I agree totally. Yeah. I was gutted. I must have been devastated because I just, lived football.
But I don't think sometimes they realise sometimes when they do it how hard it does hit those lads because they can do it so cruelly at times, can't they? And it's,
I know. And they don't, I think for me, speaking from my personal view, I think it was all about, the physical development and size of kids and things like that back in the day. And I think if they just wait maybe, I don't know, a year or two, the growth spurt on these kids, they just shoot up, get bigger, get they're just more manly, more masculine, if you like. But no, I agree. I relay it to all my young lads. We've got a young group at Didcot Town now, and they've had trials and had the disappointment of being released from professional clubs. When I say to them, it's not over. You never know who's watching these games. No. You play so many games of football nowadays. You just don't know which scouts are watching, who's watching who. If you're scoring goals, they come from all over the place. And if you're playing well, word soon gets around, and then you can have trials, you can have, it's never over, and you can play to a really good level, even at non-league, even at non-league, you can play real good level in front of big crowds. The crowds are getting bigger week in, week out. We see everywhere, which is great, which is really great. But I call it proper football. Non-league is proper football, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get proper people behind the scenes that do it voluntary.
Yeah.
The fans love to pay their money. They love their opinion, which I love. They're entitled to their opinion. You know, they come into me in the bar after and they want to let a few things off their chest. And I love that. I had it as a player when I was captain of Didcot when we won the Vars and we were very successful many years ago. And the fans just want to talk to you and speak to you, and the committee members want to speak to you, and it's part of non-league football, I guess. But it's great. I love all that. I love being in the bar after and getting interrogated, if you like, about why is such and such being picked, why ain't he playing, you know, and it's part of the non-league setup.
So I mean, when you started at Didcot, I mean, how old was you when you started playing at for the youth at Didcot?
For the men's football or
in the youth?
Oh, with the youth, I was I must have been 9, probably 8 or 9, playing for Didcot boys, and I went all the way through to the 15s, 16s, and then we had a youth team, Didcot Town Youth, and a lot of the boys just, you know, it was just next step. We just carried on going in our age group, and we played them. It was like the Allied Counties, what it is now. You play on like a Thursday night and then or a Sunday afternoon, and then if you were good enough, I used to go training with the first team on a Thursday or a Tuesday evening. And then I made my debut at 16 for Didcot Town first team.
Wow.
With
that call up though, I mean, how old was you before you got that trial? And what was the actual age when you got the trial at Oxford? Was that 15?
No, I was at Centre of Excellence at Oxford from under 10 all the way through to under 15. And then it was, they were taking on like the scholars then, the YTS. And they had whittled it down to, I think they only took 2 on at the time because they were in financial trouble, Oxford. So they couldn't take on too many lads. And they had a good group of scholars that were already there. And we were the new ones that were going to come through if we got selected. But they kept, I think they kept an Irish goalkeeper on and a Welsh centre-back. And they'd only been at the Centre of Excellence, if you like, for 6 months. And then the boys that were been there all that time, coming through the different age groups, were obviously a bit gutted. But it is what it is. And, you know, Oxford were in big trouble at the time, and they had to sell the manor and move grounds and try to sell certain players to generate some income and some money and pay the staff. So it was very tight, and it was very, I think it was tough times for them at the time when I was there.
What was it like though, getting that sort of, you know, going into the Centre of Excellence like that for a professional side, still being involved in the youth side? What was the, you know, like now I know that nowadays, of course, they get to a situation where they say you can't play for your.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So I mean, what was it like back then? You know, back then. I don't mean that make that sound as you're super,
no.
but you know what I mean. Back then, what was it like?
It was good. It was a great feeling because you had Oxford were very good. They used to bring like a current first team player to train in as well. So they would have like the backup first team goalkeeper be there, and then you could take some shots at him at the end, and there might be a midfielder there another week. And so you had that link with the first team, if you like, which was nice for us because we were only kids and we were like, wow, look at them. You know what I mean? He played in the first team on Saturday. But it all got a bit, there was one story, it was quite funny. We had to, a lot of the kids obviously wore their Arsenal shirts, kits, Man United kits, Liverpool kits and all that to training at Oxford. And it went on for some time, probably 4 or 5 weeks. And then we all got letters in the post saying, you know, you can't wear your club kits or the team that you support. You can't wear their kits anymore. You got to wear the Oxford. We had to wear Oxford Centre of Excellence t-shirts, and we had to buy our own Oxford shorts and socks. But I would rock up in my Reading kit, fully kitted out in Reading, knowing like Reading and Oxford are arch rivals, thinking there was nothing wrong with that. Because matey next door was wearing the Arsenal kit, and I want to wear my Reading kit. I saw support, and in the end there was about 3 of us that wore Reading kits, and we all got letters home to say No, you can't do that. You need to go to the club shop and buy the Oxford socks. So my dad went to it.
Nowadays, that's where most of them make their money, isn't it? Through having them buy all their kits off them.
Yeah, they do. They all get kitted out now and everything, don't they? You get the training kit and then the tracksuit and then.
So what was the levels difference? I mean, did you find that difficult from playing for, like Didcot sort of youth, say, and into Oxford? What was the difference in the level? Was there a massive step in what, maybe teams you were playing?
Yeah.
Also, the players that you were playing with?
Yeah, I found it more, whether I put pressure on myself to play better for Oxford, but the players were definitely better. No disrespect to the lads I played with at Didcot, but the quality was there. You got players from all over at Oxford. We had players from Wales, Ireland, Swansea, wherever it was. And we were all trying to get into that starting 11 on a Sunday morning. And you felt the pressure. Yeah, I wouldn't lie. I felt the pressure. I had to perform even at, 13, 14 years of age, because I wanted to be a pro. That was my aim in life, to be a professional footballer. And I wanted it that bad that I put pressure on myself to play well. And I knew that if I didn't play well, someone else would be in there next week and I'll be sat on the bench watching. So the quality of players was better. Yeah. It was more intense, I would say, as well. And you're playing against, you play against crew out design, you're playing against fellow professional clubs as well. So every Sunday we'd be playing Southampton or Portsmouth or Leyton Orient or, Swansea, whoever it may be. And it was good. It was a good level of football. But I found when I went back to Didcot, it was a bit more relaxed, whether that was myself taking the pressure off myself by not thinking, oh, I'm playing for Didcot now, it's not Oxford. But I think I ended up enjoying it more playing for Didcot than I did for Oxford, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, was it difficult as well, though, Joe? I mean, like, when you're playing on a Sunday morning with Didcot, and the one parent says to one of the other parents, "Oh, that's that bloke there. He's playing for Oxford." Blah blah blah. Yeah. Was that then more difficult for you? I mean, was there that intent from the other people to give you a bit more of a kick, shall we say?
Yeah, possibly. But I'm quite good even now. I don't. Everything sort of goes. When I was a player, the fans could give me so much abuse, or I'd get spat on or whatever it may be. It never bothered me. They could call me names. They could call me. It just went. I was in the zone, so focused that I never, even at a young age for a kid, if a parent was having a pop at me, or like you said, if little Johnny wanted to take me out because I was at Oxford, so be it. You try and take me out. You try and stop me. Or you maybe thought it as a challenge and probably quite liked it, actually, to be fair. But
you said you made your first team debut for Didcot at 16, did you say?
Yeah, 16, yeah.
Did you become a regular then? Or?
Yeah, well, I was in and out for the first season. Maybe the first, season and a half I was in and out. I was only a young lad, very thin, very raw and naive probably at times, but we were
what were you in then? Hellenic League?
Hellenic, Hellenic Premier Division then, and it was proper men's football. It was proper going to Tuffy Rovers down in Gloucester, and playing your local derbies, Wallingford, Milton, Wantage, all these local derbies, and you're playing against grown men who don't want a little 16-year-old running past them and making them look stupid. They're going to give you a bit of a kick and a welcome to men's football type of thing.
Because around your area, there was quite a lot of teams, weren't there? You got the Abingdons, haven't you?
You had both Abingdons, both Abingdons.
So you had quite a lot of challenge for players, really, around that, quite a small area, really.
Yeah, there is definitely. In that time, it was very much, it was just, you had so many, like you said, so many teams locally that you could go and play for. We had so many local derbies, and a lot of the lads that we had when I was coming through, we did have a sort of, there wasn't any money, so it was mainly the lads coming through from the youth team or reserves that had played well, and then we'll have a few older players to sort of look after us, if you like. more experienced lads, just to, you know, keep the opposition in check if they did try to make a few rough challenges, shall we say. But yeah, it was an eye opener to men's football, but it's held me in good stead for the whole of my football career, 100%. And then the things like you said earlier, you can use your experiences to give a bit of guidance and offer a bit of, you know, a bit of knowledge to the younger lads that are coming through and making their way into men's football, just to maybe not pre-warn them, but just give them a little heads up of what to expect sometimes.
I know we're probably skipping forward a little bit now, but what surprises me, I mean, when I was editor of Team Talk magazine, I don't know if you remember Team Talk magazine. Do you remember the old? Yeah. When I was editor, I used to travel a lot around. I've been to both Abingdons. I've been to Didcot, I've been to Wantage, all those grounds around there, Kimpbury Rangers, and all those sort of things. Yeah. And what surprises me is that all of a sudden now that area seems to be a little bit struggling a little bit. I mean, you're probably atop of that sort of league, aren't you, in that area?
Yeah. Well, the Aberdeen Town.
I mean, one of them folded, isn't it?
Yeah, they've gone. Yeah, they've got a women's team now, which are successful, but they haven't got a men's team. Aberdeen United is struggling. They've dropped down a few leagues. Milton have struggled. They've dropped down a couple of leagues. Wantage are in our league with us, with Kidlington. But for Oxfordshire, it's a big county, and you've got, I mean, look at Banbury. They got promoted yesterday, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
I was there for a couple of years, a few years back, and they're just a fantastic club. Fantastic club.
Yeah, I know Barry Burns is an old friend of mine.
Barry, great friend. Yeah.
But it just surprises me how all that area has struggled so much in the last few years. As I said, your Didcot probably, you know, in that area probably doing better than most, aren't you?
Yeah, in recent times we've done well, to be fair. But even like you say about Kimpbury, and there's a lot of North Berks teams of like Ardington, they have no team anymore, and they used to be really successful. It's just a shame to see some of these local clubs, at whatever level it may be, just no longer there, really, because they've had a history of being good teams over the years.
I mean, when you came in there and started playing, you know, the first few seasons on and off, sort of like there. When did you start to become, sort of a regular first team player?
I think around about 18, I would say, just before 18, 17, 18. I came in as a right winger. I played in many positions over the years, but yeah, right wing was I think they just stuck me out there, had a bit of pace, could deliver a ball. We had a good centre forward, Andy Marriott, who was great in the air. So I knew exactly where to stick it. And I had a few assists that year, to be fair. And it sort of went from there, really. We weren't very successful. We used to finish just above the relegation zone, probably, most years. It wasn't until we moved. So Didcot used to play at a ground called Station Road Ground. And then
that's where I went.
Yeah, old ground just by the railway line. And then there's a small bar, and the changing rooms were awful. You were lucky if you had hot water in the showers and things like that. But massive pitch, so big pitch for a young lad to be running around on there. And he used to get real wet and heavy and boggy. So you knew when you had a wet Saturday afternoon or a Tuesday night that you were going to be stiff the next day or a bit sore for a couple of days. But then we moved in 2000. We moved to our new current ground now, Luke Meadow Stadium, which is on a Lady Road development, like a new build housing development. And it wasn't until we actually moved there that we started to get a bit more success within the club. New ground, new pitch, fantastic pitch. And it attracted players, to be honest. Players wanted to come to us because of the facilities. Excuse me, just going to drink.
What? Of course, you say you got success went through, and I mean, how successful did the side get? For people
well, we won the FA Vars in 2005.
How disappointed with that were you though for not to be at Wembley?
Yeah, you know what? People say this to me. That's probably their most asked question. It would have been nice to play at Wembley. I'm not going to lie, but
I mean, I was there at White Hart Lane. I don't think I've missed a Vars or trophy final for 25 years probably. And
really,
and it's
yeah,
White Hart Lane, wasn't it? Yeah,
White Hart Lane. Yeah. It was.
Talk us through that run to the Vars final and winning it. I mean, talk us through the rounds if you can remember.
Well, I remember the first in the Vars. It's you play all the local teams or your area, don't you? Early on in the rounds, so we had Aberdeen United, and I think we beat them 1-0. We had Carterton, who were in our league as well at the time. Next round, and we beat them after extra time 1-0. And I still get a bit of stick nowadays from one of my good friends of mine who I played against that day. We were marking each other all game, and I maybe failed him in the penalty area in the second half of the game, and he was adamant it was a penalty, and the ref didn't give it, and we went down the other end, and in extra time he scored. So he thinks they should have won the Vars. So we have a bit of banter about that, but and then we went. It wasn't really until we played Gosport Borough away in like the 4th or 5th round of the Vars. And that was a turning point for myself. I was captain of the team, but we went there and beat them 1-0. And that was the day where I thought, I really believe we could get either to the semis or a final of the competition. It gave me like a bit of belief to think, wow, we've had I didn't expect us to beat Gosport Borough. No one did, I don't think. But we defended properly. We had a game plan, and then we got a free kick at the end, and Bradley Ward, the midfielder, just curled one in from 25 yards, and it was just the perfect football result, really. And it gave us such a belief. And in the dressing room after, the buzz and the happiness, it was as if we won the Vars already, but we had to keep our feet on the ground, So
that was away, was it?
Away, yeah. And it was Gosport's got a good setup. It's a lovely ground. They've got some good people there, and for us to go there was a bit of it was a shock. It was a shock we beat them, to be honest. And that was for me the turning point where I thought, wow, we could actually do really well in this competition with a bit of luck in the draws. And then we went to East Preston. We went there and beat them 4-1 away. We went to it was two-legged. We had two-legged. We played Bury. Was it Bury? Bury Town. We played Bury Town. Yeah, we played Bury Town, and we beat them 2-0 at the Loop. And that was about 2,000 there that day. That was, I think, quarterfinals. Went to Colne away. That was a interesting trip. We went because we loved a night out and a social drink and stuff at the time. We were good. We were doing really well in the league. We had a really good team spirit. We had some very, very good players for that level. Because I don't know if you're at Wallingford, something happened at Wallingford Town that year. I think the manager left, and he was from Reading. He was Reading way, and a lot of the lads were from Reading. We played for Wallingford, and we managed to poach 6 of their better players, if you like, Stuart Bevan, Bradley Ward, and a couple of others, Danny Campbell. They all come together. They're all good mates off the pitch, and they all came together, and they're very, very good footballers. And the likes of myself, Paul Powell, Ian Kincannon, a couple of other lads that were already at the football club, we just clicked with them straight away. So they're 6, and the 5 that were already at the football club, that was basically the starting 11 every week. And we had this bond and this unbelievable spirit amongst us. And the Colne game we trained in the morning, and we had beans on toast at the football club, and then we got a coach up stayed overnight, and the boys just loved every time.
Just as you say, you stayed overnight. Do you remember where you stayed overnight?
It was somewhere in Blackburn, but I don't know.
Okay.
It was. We always stayed in a hotel which had like a beefeater or something attached to it.
Yeah.
So when we got there, we could go and get something to eat. The manager at the time, Stuart Peace, was like, "Look, boys, don't change anything. You know, if you have a bottle of red wine on a Friday night, have a bottle of red wine. If you have a couple of beers, have a couple of. Don't change any of your routine. Just do what you normally do." But the lads are sensible. They were quite good, to be fair. I think a couple of them had a couple of beers and went off to bed. But we went to Carlton. It lashed down all the way there Friday night. We woke up in the morning. It was still lashing down with rain. I mean, torrential, like, didn't stop. It didn't look like it was going to stop. And then we got to the grounds and we did the warm-up, and the ref come to me, the captain, and just said, "Look, if you hadn't travelled so far, I would have called this game off today." He said, "But we're going to play it and just see how it goes." It's on a slope. I remember it being on a slope, Cole. And it was wet, horrible. Oh, they were crammed in. They had a lot of fans there that day. And we won 3-2, but I think we were 1-0 down going up the slope, and then we turned it around second half and won 3-2. But our goalie at the time, Chris Webb, got whacked round the head with an umbrella by an old lady in the crowd. We won. Yeah, he went in the net to get his towel, and she whacked him over the head with an umbrella. So you give him a bit of stick for that. But we were covered in mud, absolutely plastered it head to foot. But well worth it. Well worth the trip.
So what was that feeling on the way back? Knowing that you was in the final?
Yeah, we couldn't wait for the draw. We couldn't. So the semi-final we played, we got drawn away again. Well, it was two-legged semi-final. So we played Jarrow Roofing from Newcastle. So we played, it was two-legged. We played the first leg at home. And believe it or not, I scored. We won 1-0, and I don't score many at all. But in the big games, I must have, I don't know what happened. Anyway, I scored, we won 1-0, and he went up there second leg and beat them 1-0 again. But again, a great club, great old ground. We didn't leave their bar till God knows what time, 8, 9 o'clock. And it was a good trip home. We had a double-decker bus. Cards were going, music was going. I think we got back to the football club at 2 a.m. We tried to get into this nightclub in Didcot, but they were having none of it. And, it was just a great...
I mean, what was that feeling like knowing you were in the final, though, travelling back from there and,
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. The messages and the phone calls you were getting, and it was just, you couldn't believe what you had done. But for us, we had no, I'm going back to the team again now, but we had no big time Charlies or no people, lads with egos, or, there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook. It was just a group of lads that enjoyed playing with each other. Yeah, we enjoyed a beer, but we were sensible with it. And it was just fantastic. I wouldn't have changed playing at Wembley. I wouldn't, for the day that I had as captain, and for my family and friends to be at that ground was something I'd never change, even though it was disappointing, I know. But
so who did Didcot play in the final, for those that don't know?
AFC Sudbury.
Right, okay.
We played Sudbury. We won 2, but they were the best team we had played in the competition by far, and it was their third time they'd been on the trot.
On the row,
yeah. So
and none of them at Wembley.
yeah, that's right. Did they have to go to Villa Park? Was it Villa Park?
Villa Park, yeah.
So we, it was like FA Cup final day for us. We had our suits and we had all these fittings to do leading up to the cup final, and we had
no, actually, I was wrong. Their first one, because I'm just recalling now, the first one was at West Ham. Then the second one was at St Andrews, Birmingham.
Yeah.
I remember going. That's the first time I've been to Birmingham since I played there. But it was.
That's right.
I just felt a bit sorry for Sudbury. 3 finals, none of them at Wembley.
Yeah, I know.
You must have been disappointed, though, Jamie, to have to go and play a final at Tottenham of all places.
White Hart Lane. Oh no, I'd see.
He's an Arsenal fan, by the way.
Well,
I jumped ahead.
Maybe
I thought you was talking about the final earlier on, but when you went to the final, can you remember where you stayed? And if my information's correct, I know where you stayed.
Do you?
Yeah.
I know he was in the bar in the hotel when we were there. Chris Kamara, Alan Kirbishley, and someone else. But I haven't got a foggiest what name of the hotel.
According to this, you stayed in a hotel in Waltham Abbey.
Oh, right, okay.
So I'm guessing it's the one no more than about, I don't know, 2 goal kicks from where I'm sitting right now. So,
right.
So that was why I looked at it. I just read the report on the local.
Yeah, it would have made sense, to be fair, because Kirbishley and Kamara were there, and they stayed up apparently drinking with the management team that night. And they had a good chinwag, I think, and told a few stories and things. So, but we had Italian suits made, fitted, and
not white ones, I hope.
No, not like the Liverpool team. Yeah, no, not like that. We had nice grey ones with white shirts, but
So what was the travel like up there, and then literally being able to get up?
Yeah, we trained in the morning and had beans on toast at the football club in the morning. Trained on the training pitch. The coach come and picked us up, and we had like a little parade through the town. We drove down the main high street in the town, and there was a few fans there and waving us off and stuff and wishing us good luck. And then we went on our way. Yeah, went to London. Went to White Hart Lane first, dropped all our kit bags off and towels and whatnot, and they got it all ready for us, put our boots out. So we left them there, went back to the hotel, checked in, had a bite to eat, had a few beers. Even then, we had beers before the game. I only had one, but one of the lads, he said, I can't change what I do on a Friday night. You should have a bottle of red wine every week. To Stuart, the manager, was like, well, have a bottle of red wine then. So he was like, okay. So we had a bottle of red. He said it helps him sleep. So he didn't play very well in the final, to be fair to it. But
because in them days, if I'm right in saying, none of that was televised either, was it?
No. We all got Radio Oxford, BBC Radio Oxford did the live commentary on the day, and then I think they videoed it as well because the DVDs were available and things like that back in the day. But I think there was 9,500 attendance, and there must have been 6,500, 7 Didcot. Didcot would have been a deserted town that day because everyone was going on the trains, and everyone who I knew was going. They couldn't wait and stuff like that. So, but we looked smart. We were in our suits, and Sudbury, bless them, turned up in their tracksuits because it's their 3rd time. They thought they were going to win, but they had a little surprise.
That's the trouble when you find that teams go to finals more than once. The support tends to drift. It diminished slightly, doesn't it? Because but for Didcot, it was their first one, the big day. Sudbury, it's 3rd time. Oh, here we go again.
Exactly. Like they were going there every year.
I mean, you say in that situation, I've only ever been in that sort of scenario. We took a league representative team it was in a competition, and we played one in a Harlow League, and basically we had to play one of these teams in the final that had won it for they seem to win it every other year or every year, etc., etc. We got to the final in Sawbridgeworth. And we went to Sawbridgeworth to play the final, and the guy said, "What we going in?" I said, "Right, suits. Like make sure you got shirt and tie, trousers, shoes." And we need to go. So they all turned up with their ties and their shirts and all the rest of it. And I remember driving into the ground, and there was a very tight turn going into the one side of the ground. And as we came in, the side that we were playing, the coach driver had embedded the front of the coach into the hill going around the corner. And all of their players were going off. And these were only like under 14s, under 13s, whatever it was. And they're all getting off the coach, and they've all got these dirty, wet training tops on, walking into the ground, and there's all our guys walking past this coach because we had to because we couldn't get parked.
Yeah,
suits and just walking into the ground. And it's a bit like Steve said. We went into the thing. Everybody was saying they'd beat us once in the qualifying stages, and we'd managed to get them in the final, and we absolutely annihilated them in the final. Do you know what I mean? Won the final, and the amount of times after that we got the parents of that team, coming up to you afterwards saying, we knew you'd won it when he saw you coming off in shirts and ties.
Yeah,
Just that mindset of how it was. But what did that win? First of all, I mean, again, for people that won't know, you know, what was the score on the day, and also what did that do for Didcot as a club?
So yeah, like I said before, Sudbury were the best team we played in the whole competition. They've been there 3 years on the trot. They were a physical, proper team. We won 3-2. 0-0 at half time. We were lucky to be in the game, to be fair. We were very lucky. 0-0 at half time. We made a few changes. We played 4-4-2 religiously, mostly through the whole tournament. But we had players that could adapt to different positions. So we changed at half time, went 3-5-2, pushed another man in midfield. And it worked wonders for us. We were 3-1 up. And then they got a penalty right at the end in injury time, last kick of the game. But for the fans and the club, it really put us on the map. You know, really, really, we were doing well in the league. I think we finished runners-up in the league that year due to an admin error. We would have won the league. We got deducted 2 points or 3 points, and we lost the league by that. And then we had this Vars Vars run, and we won that. But the whole town really, it was in the Oxford Mail, the local press, it was on the radios, we were doing interviews. We're really, you know, flying on and off the pitch. And I think that really set us up for the next few years because we were very successful after that.
Did that boost your attendances for the next season as well?
Yeah, we were well attended anyway. With Didcot, I suppose it's like any club really. If you go in well, you get well supported. And the fans of Didcot or the local community were very good with us in terms of that. They'd come and watch in their numbers, and we used to change some of their games to a Friday night with permission from the league and the opposition, and we'd have 500-600 there on a Friday night, and we'll win games 4-5-0.
I'm surprised a lot of other clubs don't do that, you know, because that is you know, especially when you've got a lot of, I mean, I know Premier League these days it's spread over the whole weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Friday to Monday, but I'm surprised a lot of clubs don't do that more.
As players, we loved it. Friday night was brilliant for us, you know, straight from work, meet at the ground, do your warm up, play the game, have a few beers on a Friday night, and then Saturday we'd go and watch another local team or your mates play, or I'd go and watch Reading play or whoever, and the attendances were up. The attendance is good. Really.
I think the only thing against it, or certainly at the club I'm with, that they say is the opposition won't travel very far on a Friday night. Yeah. That's the trouble, isn't it?
I know. That's the only thing. You know what Friday night traffic can be like. It can be a nightmare. Can't it?
So how long was it before Didcot got promoted after that?
The following year, we got promoted into the Southern League, and we went into the Southwest. It was near enough the same players that got us the Vars winners medal, if you like. Stuart only tweaked a couple of players for the Southern League because we had such a good team. It was more like a squad. He added more to the squad in case of injuries or suspensions because we didn't have many suspensions or injuries, to be fair, in that Vars run. So we were lucky. But we went into the Southern League and played in the Southwest, which is a tough league, to be fair. You've got the Bristol sides, your Yates, your Bristol Manor Farms, your Poltons, your Maggotsfields, and all these type of teams. Truro were in our league then. Very, very good. Yeah, we had a few. Luckily, from Didcot train station, you can get a train direct down to Truro. So we used to leave, when we played them away, we used to leave at 8:30 in the morning on the train. And then it was just straight down to Truro. But one occasion we got there and it was postponed. Waterlogged pitch. So we had the closer we got to like Plymouth and down that way, the rain was getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And we were saying to the secretary, like, you had a phone call. It's a bit wet. And he's like, no, I had nothing. So we just presumed the game was on. We got there. No cars in the car park. None of their players, nothing. And the chairman, bless him, he was very good. He was good to us. He was there with his wife. He was like, sorry, boys, been trying to get hold of you. Whether he had or not, I don't know. But the game's been called off. The puck was all over the pitch. You couldn't play it. But he laid on a load of food for us and we had a few beers and then got the next train back to Didcot. We had to go down there on a midweek game. That's the only thing, though. Oh,
yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it?
It was a Thursday night, and we lost in the last minute. So never mind.
I'm right in saying as well, as of course, as well, you're the got the highest amount of games for Didcot as well.
Yeah. I played a lot. Luckily, stayed free of injuries over my years. Fit lad, anyway. But you know, it doesn't matter nowadays. You can be out for a long time. But no, I had a lot of appearances for Didcot. Yeah, I just love playing. I was a local boy, just loved playing for the club. You know, I probably could have played higher, and I probably should have played higher at an earlier age. And I went to Oxford City for 6 months when they were flying in the conference, might be Conference North then, under Mike Ford. And I was about 32, I think, 31, 32, and it was quite late on. And I was lucky to get the opportunity, but I just felt it was the right time just to go and have a look and to see, you know, I should have gone earlier, maybe a few years earlier when I was in my prime, if you like, 28. But it's hard to leave Didcot when you're winning things. We're winning leagues, we're winning county cups, we're winning supplementary cups, we're winning league cup, we're winning literally everything we entered, we won. And it was just, why would you want to leave? Why would you, you know, it was, I could have played higher and earlier, like I said earlier, but I was enjoying.
What made you go to Banbury?
Again, it was a connection with Mike Ford and Andy Sinnott. They are good friends of mine, played with Fordy. Fordy actually played for Didcot under Pete Foley for us. So I got to know Fordy very well after he left his Oxford United. And yeah, I actually did his running for him in midfield. He used to boss me around because his legs are gone, and I used to run around after all the midfield players. And he was a great player. But he just sat in the middle of the park and just dictated possession and the ball. And I went and ran and did his running for him with his legs. But yeah, it was the connection with Mike, really, Mike Ford, that got me over there. I went to watch. I went out of football for a couple of years just because I had kids and stuff with family and work and things like that. And I was recovering from a knee injury, and I just thought, you know, I went and done a bit of scouting for Banbury for Mike. Watched a few teams, watched a few games, and then he got me involved over at Banbury on the coach, like a first team coach, if you like. Made a couple of cameo appearances in my 40s or late 30s it was, but loved it. Loved the club. I was only there 2 or 3 years, but you could just see what was happening. It was just starting to. They were a fan-zoned club, you know. It was just done properly from the chairman right the way down to all the volunteers. The players were good, you know. There was no. Yeah, Mike had the right group, and we did okay. You know, we were in the Southern Central Premier Division, playing Stourbridge and Nuneatons and all these Tamworths, good, real good, you know, non-league teams. And little Banbury held their own, really. They were like, you know, we finished just outside the playoffs one year, then halfway. And now you look at them, they were just, you could sense things were starting to happen.
It's good, funny, again, that we talk about areas, like we said earlier about the Didcot area and that area. It's the same with that area. You got Banbury and Brackley both doing fantastically well.
Yeah,
you know, in a small space, small area.
Yeah, Brackley and Banbury are fierce rivals, and they're both top of their divisions. So, and they're getting well supported, attract the right players. You know.
Yeah, I know Kevin Wilkin quite well at Brackley, and they've done really well because it's only a small place, isn't it? Brackley's only a very small place.
Yeah, very small place.
It's funny how that little area there has done so well this year.
Yeah, it is funny how you get little areas in certain in counties that tend to thrive.
Yeah.
So how many games have you played for Didcot?
I think it's I think I've played in total. I played a couple of games for Banbury, a couple of for Oxford City, and I think it's about 8-7-6, somewhere along that line. But I remember making my 800th game at Maggotsfield, And the chairman, bless him, forgot his name now. Lovely chap. I had a few tussles with him as a player, and he was we played on a bank. It was like the Easter bank holiday weekend, and on the Saturday I got injured, and we had to go and play him on the Monday. And I remember 799 was on the Saturday at home, and I had to come off injured with a knee injury, and I twisted my knee or done something to my knee, and I was struggling for the Monday game. And I said to the manager at the time, I'm going to just strap me up, give me DP, I'll take some painkiller, whatever it is, I've got to play my 800th game at Maggotsfield. And I did, to be fair, but we lost 1-0. But the chairman at the time for Maggotsfield, he come over and give me a bottle of champagne, and, you know, we had a bit of banter and things. But yeah, a lot of games, a lot of pre-season training, running up hills, and, you know, I don't miss that now. It's nice to see the lads. Nice to be on the other side and see the lads.
It is. Yeah.
When did you take over? You know, when did you take over as manager at Didcot?
So we originally, it was 2014. I was joint manager with Ian Kincannon, who was an ex-player, centre forward, played in the Vars team. We originally took over then, and we had a good run in the FA Cup. The following year, 2015, we played Exeter in the first round proper at Didcot. It was live on BT, and it was a Sunday afternoon game. It was, but that was great achievement. And then we had a good FA Trophy run the same year. Played Forest Green Rovers twice in a replay. They beat us 3-0 in the replay at home on the Tuesday night. But that was the first time we went joint, and then we left maybe 3 years after that. And then Andy Ballard was manager of Didcot at the time, and then he left, went to Oxford City, and I was at Banbury. And I wasn't looking to get back into management, if you like. I was happy at Banbury. I was happy coaching, happy learning from Mike. I was playing the odd game here and there. If he needed me to play, I was always available, kept myself fit. But I loved it at Banbury, and I wouldn't have moved. I wouldn't have left Banbury if it wasn't for Didcot. 100%. I would never, because it was Didcot, and my heart was already there, if you like, at Didcot. When they expressed an interest in me going back as manager, it was hard for me to say no. But on the other hand, it was hard for me. I had to ring Mike and tell him, you know, that I'm making a decision. That was hard. That was a hard phone call, because I think he knew how much I enjoyed being there as well at Banbury.
Up to present day, I mean, this season, I mean, how's it gone for Didcot?
We started great up until Christmas, and then after Christmas, we sort of, whether it was a turkey or what, I don't know, but we sort of hit a wall. But we've done great. You know, we've got a low budget. We were going into Christmas, I think we were at 8th, just sitting outside the playoffs. Had the best away form in the league. We hadn't lost one away. Home form was another story. We couldn't win at home for love and money. And then after Christmas, we only won 1 in 13. So not great form, but probably were overachieving before Christmas, if I'm honest. And then it sort of levels itself out, I suppose, isn't it? But that's why I was happy with a point yesterday. We stopped the rot. We had lost 6 on the spin going into yesterday's game, v St Neots. So we just needed to stop the rot and start.
Your games you had though, Jamie. I mean, there was some tough games in that 6. I mean, it wouldn't be too harsh. You know, Tame, Berkhamsted, Bedford Town in there as well. St Neots. Yeah. So there was some real sort of big ties. I mean, you probably don't get much easier with Biggles Wade away, Waltham Abbey at home, Wolfley away, and Ware at home.
Where I know, yeah. Listen, it's a good league to be. I've been in and around the Southern League for a long time, and it's a good standard of football. It is a good standard of football. You've got hungry young players that want to make a name for themselves and go on to bigger and better things.
What did you think of St Neots? Because they got a very young side as well, haven't they?
Yeah, good team. Yeah. Well, a couple of years ago, Steve, beat us 8-0 on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Give us a hell of a drumming. Absolutely hell of a. We were just.
They've got a big connection with Cambridge United, haven't they?
Yeah. Their ex-manager, I forget his name. He's there as Cambridge assistant manager now.
Barry Core.
That's him. Yeah, Barry Core. Yeah, he played actually in that game. We lost 8-0. We got absolutely ripped to shreds. Absolutely, they were one of the best teams we had played that season.
Unfortunately, I had the same situation with my under 18s and their under 18s. They've got a very, very good side.
Have they?
Yeah. But they've got a nice little setup up there.
They have lovely setup. Yeah, lovely setup. It's lovely, lovely club to be fair. I went there with Banbury when they were in the Central, and luckily, unfortunately, they got relegated to Neots. But you could just see lovely ground, lovely setup.
Yeah,
you can see what they were trying to do with the kids as well. And it takes time with kids, you know.
Yeah,
you need a bit of patience. They're inconsistent with their performances, just because of their age and their lack of experience. But you got to stick with it. And the manager Pete Gill on Saturday, you can see what he's trying to do again there. He's got a couple of old heads in, but they're young. They're a good team. They're a good team.
Yeah. They are. Expect a lot of changes in the league again next year, like personnel wise, teams wise, with another expected sort of little side shuffle, etc. And also, what sort of last question for you. I mean, what's the future for Didcot?
I think there's always a reshuffle somewhere along the line at the end of the season, whether it's, where you are geographically in the country or what they're shifting about and stuff like that. So
you're one that's on the edge, aren't you?
Yeah.
You could go west or
so
where you are.
How we ended up in the Central was because I think it was Evesham, maybe. We agreed to swap with Evesham.
Yeah.
Evesham got put in the Central and they didn't want to be in the Central. They wanted to be in the Southwest.
Yeah.
So we agreed to go in the Central and move out the Southwest. Whether it was right or wrong, I don't know. But we are on the cusp of, right on the cusp. It's a bit like Banbury and Oxford City. Oxford City used to get put in the North and all this. So, I mean, I'm not against if we get moved to the Southwest. I know a lot of the sides and a lot of the ex-players, if you like, down there, and we've been there before and things like that. Or
does that affect your player recruitment, though, where you are?
No, not so much now, I don't think. No, not with us. We haven't got a big budget. We don't pay big wages, so it's a lot of local lads. It's just a travelling, really. It's easy for us to go on the A34 and M4 and get on the, with the Central, we're going to Luton and, Cambridge and stuff like that. It can be a bit of a journey at times.
Yeah. What's the future for you? And, in the coming years, are you still staying here at Didcot and trying to get promotion there?
Yeah, I'm still, I've just turned 43. I've got a lot of experience with my playing career, but not so much in the management side of things. Yeah, I've played under good managers and I've seen from a very good manager, Mike Ford, that what I can take bits and pieces I want from them and put my own twist on things, if you like. But I really want to develop my management side of things. I think that'll be at Didcot. I can't see me going anywhere else unless I want to be winning and pushing for things at Didcot. But then, that comes with bigger budgets and bigger pressures. So I think we're looking to stabilise and then see where we're not frightened of anyone, your Begfords and your stuff like that. It's great going to these big clubs and these big grounds and big attendances, but it doesn't faze anyone. But we want to be at the top fighting. It's a different perspective when you're down the bottom and you're fighting relegation. It's much better fighting playoffs and top two or whatever it is, automatic. So we want to be pushing to the top of the league and pushing for the playoffs. And it won't happen overnight. I've got a young team, but over the last 18 months, those young boys are gradually turning into men and they're learning from their mistakes. They're playing games only makes them better players, maybe, or they learn not when and not to do things. And it just helps in their development, you know. And I know sometimes that some of them might not be ready, but I believe in them. I believe in the young kids. I made my debut at 16, so you know, I'm all for giving kids a chance if they're good enough. But then that comes, you know, I'm not going to lie, I do get frustrated. I do get frustrated because I want things to happen now, but it's not. You've got to be patient and wait. Their time will come, and the good players will use their experiences to make themselves better, I suppose.
Well, listen, Jamie, I really appreciate you coming on tonight and having this My Life in Football chat with us. We wish you all the very, very best.
Thank you, David. Yeah, thank you, mate.
All the best as well, and hopefully we can get you on the D&K non-league show as well in the coming.
Yeah, anytime.
It's been absolutely fantastic. And again, Steve, thank you for joining us as well tonight.
Nice to meet you, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah, and you, Steve. Yeah, all the best to you. Thank you.
Me and Steve will be back in next week as well with another one of our My Lifes in Football. But until then, good night.